and action. For real though, have you guys ever tried to put together a live show on Facebook and set it all up by yourself? Because, oh my goodness, I need you to contact me. Because I have never tried to do a consistent live show before. So welcome to day one of the Jungle Jen afternoon show. And hey, let's just do this together. It's going to be maybe crazy, but I think we'll just have fun. I just want to bring a little positivity and joy into your life, into my life. We've got a lot with social media right now and online in the news that is negative, and I just want to spread some joy. Anybody else out there, give me a thumbs up if you are just ready for some joy, because I just think we need to spread some joy. So we've had quite a few requests now that I am back in the country again. It's great to be back. We've had quite a few requests of, hey, Jungle Jen, we want to see your RV. So let me go back and let me give you that story of how that happened. So I actually need to go back quite a few years, probably 4 years ago. I had landed at RDU, Raleigh-Durham International Airport, once again, and as the plane hit the runway, I just looked up to God and I was like, God, I know that Jesus said he didn't have a place to lay his head, but my goodness, I cannot keep going like this. I can't keep traveling from here to there and never having a consistent place to come back to. So in that moment, he actually gave me a vision. And in the vision, I saw what looked to be like a townhome or an apartment. And I just saw the inside of it. And I said, okay, great. I'm going to ground myself somewhere. Where is it? And I got nothing. Just this vision. So I set off on a quest. After I landed, I went to my parents' house, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away, dropped all my stuff off and said, I'm off to find where I'm going to live. And I literally just went all around looking at random places, but close to the airport because I knew that's what I needed. I needed somewhere because of how much I traveled to just jump in a car or call an Uber, go to the airport, go, and when I land, not have far to drive when I came back. So I went to place after place after place, and then I found the spot where what I had seen in that vision. So I signed a lease right then. Loved it where I stayed. It was a beautiful location, had a pool and everything. It was so nice. It was really close to the airport. But now fast forward about 3 years. And last year, I landed once again at RDU, took the Uber to my townhome, came in, dropped my luggage, and realized in less than 24 hours, I was getting back in a car to drive somewhere else to go to another speaking engagement. Now, I love to travel. I do. I get it. I love it. But at this point, I was thinking another hotel, another host home. Dear God, I know I asked for a place to lay my head, but in the last year, I have been gone from this place more than I've been at this place. And do you know what I heard in my spirit? Buy an RV. Buy an RV? Really? Is that a thing? Well, as his beautiful hand orchestrates my life, one thing led to another. And dear friends of mine at the time, who were also my small group leaders from church, just so happened to have an RV for sale. So I went out to their RV, I checked it out with them, and instantly I knew this was home. That I would get rid of my townhome, I would buy an RV, and a 42-foot RV at that. Okay, for those of you who maybe don't know quite the math of an RV, 42 feet is 2 feet longer than a school bus. Yes, 2 feet longer than a school bus is what I was getting ready to purchase. And popped out, it's about 500 square feet. This thing is massive. So I go through the process with my friends to purchase this, and they were so kind. They said, find what speaking engagement you have next. We'll take the RV with us, and we'll show you how to use all of it. It was perfect. It was great. We set the date. I was going to go to Charlotte for a speaking engagement. So we pile all of our stuff into the RV, and the husband looks at me and he says, all right, go ahead, get in the driver's seat. And I was like, I've never done this before. I can't just get into a driver's seat of an RV. He goes, well, there's only one way to learn. They towed up their Lexus on the back of the RV, and I drove through Charlotte, North Carolina traffic in a 42-foot RV towing a vehicle. Talk about sink or swim. But guys, sometimes that's just what you got to do. I am all about just go for it and take the risk. And so here was an opportunity for me to practice what I've been preaching, right? To just go for it. The trip was fantastic. He and his wife showed me the ropes of how to use it. So I've had it now for a little over a year, and I love it. And after the tour, I'll give you a little quick tour, and then afterwards I have a really funny story for you. All right, so let's take a tour of the RV. Are you ready for this? Okay, again, live's not my thing, so we're gonna learn together. Let's see if we can turn this around. Oh, look, it does work. All right, hopefully you can still hear me. Here's the driver's seat. There you go. We'll go on a drive together sometime. The front, and both of these chairs, by the way, it's really cool. Both of these seats turn around and become reclining seats for the living room. Living room, kitchen. Yes! A lovely kitchen. Lovely microwave that's also a convection oven. Ooh, and under this plant, look what happens. You pull these up. Oh, and it's 3 burners. Yes. Television, it actually came with 3. And for someone who hasn't owned a television in over 11 years, that was kind of funny to me. Bathroom. Bathroom number 1. Bedroom. And bathroom number 2, which also has, oh, hey, there's Gus. Hi, Gus. Which also has a really nice shower. Nice big shower in it. And you're saying, hey, Jen, what's that orange thing right there? Anybody want to take a guess of what that orange thing is? Come on, guys. If you know me, you know where I sleep. That is my hammock. Let me show you a picture. Yep, at night, that's exactly what I do. I set that hammock up in the living room so that I can sleep every night in a hammock. Oh, you want to see the outside? Sorry. Going out. Walking outside. Lovely steps come out. And there we go. There it is. Her name is Sweet Tenacity. Just because that year was the year of tenacity for me. And so I named her Sweet Tenacity. Anybody want to go for a ride? Anybody? All right, so now you have had an official tour of the RV for those of you who had requested it. And if you didn't request it, well, you got one anyway. So now my funny story, because this is often a question that I am asked. Many people will say to me, Jen, do you drive that thing? Yes, I do. And I love to drive that thing. I do drive it, but I have to tell you as to how that first came about. So after purchasing the RV and after going on my little trip to Charlotte, North Carolina with the previous owners, I came back and I started Googling driving school. Because if you're going to buy a 42-foot RV, like, don't you think you should probably go to driving school? Now, you don't have to have a special license in order to drive an RV because it's considered a private vehicle and you don't have passengers who paid. So therefore, you can just have a regular driver's license and drive a 42-foot RV. But me, I think driving school would be a good idea. Anybody else? Yes to driving school. So the first thing that comes up on my Google search is Fuller Driving School. Perfect. Fuller Driving School. Here we go. So I pick up the phone, I call the number, and here's what I get. Hello, this is Mr. Fuller with Fuller Driving School. How can I help you? And I'm thinking, this is perfect. So I said, Mr. Fuller, wow, the owner of the driving school. This is amazing that I get to talk to you. My name is Jennifer Foster, and I just bought a 42-foot RV, and I want to come to your driving school in order to learn how to drive it. And then there was silence, and then he said, ma'am, get in your RV and drive it. And I said, well, Mr. Fuller, I appreciate your confidence in me, sir, but I have a RAV4, which is a small SUV. I've never driven anything to this magnitude before, so I think it would be a good idea if I came to your driving school in order to learn how to drive it. And he said, ma'am, get in your RV and drive it. And I said, well, Mr. Fuller, I understand what you're saying, sir, but I think for the safety of myself and for the others on the road, I think I should come to your school so I can learn how to properly and safely. And then I get, ma'am. I said, I know. Get in my RV and drive it. And then he says, ma'am, do you have a license? And I said, well, of course I have a license, Mr. Fuller. I told you I drive a small RAV4. He goes, then, ma'am, get in your RV and drive it. And I said, well, are you telling me that you don't give driving lessons to people who buy RVs? Is it not that kind of driving school? He goes, no, ma'am, you just need to get in your RV and drive it. And I said, okay. I said, so if you don't offer that kind of service, can you tell me maybe a place that I should go to in order to get driving lessons before I drive a 42-foot RV across the country? And he goes, well, I guess you could go to school bus driving school. You have a good day, ma'am. And that was it. That is what I got from Fuller Driving School. Just get in your RV and drive it. So it's what I did. It's exactly what I did. I didn't search any other schools. I simply got in my RV, and for 2 weeks, I drove it. When I went to Target, I drove it. When I went to Starbucks, by the way, it does not go through the drive-thru. I drove it. When I went to a friend's house for dinner one night in Raleigh, I drove it. I drove the RV everywhere I went. I did not allow myself to take my RAV anywhere. I drove to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store in the RV everywhere I went for 2 weeks. And then after those 2 weeks, I towed up my RAV on the back with a tow dolly. And for 2 weeks solid, everywhere I went, I drove it with that vehicle attached to the back. Now, I need to be real honest with you. I got myself into some binds. And by the way, if you were one of those who got stuck behind me during those 4 weeks, I am so sorry. I really am. I was just learning how to drive it. I'm sorry. But there were multiple times. I don't mean like 1 or 2, and I don't even mean like 5 or 6, guys. I'm talking like probably in 2 weeks, we're talking between 10 and 15 times that I literally had gotten myself into such a bind. I had to stop the RV, go back, take the RAV off the tow dolly, unhook the tow dolly, move both to the side, reposition the RV, rehook the tow dolly, re-put my RAV up on it before I could go again. Over and over and over. Now, I'm not saying that after those 4 weeks that I was driving it, that I became a professional. I still have so much to learn, and I still go so slow. But it gave me the confidence that I needed to drive it. It gave me the confidence I needed to do what I have been called to do. And that's to live in an RV. And the beautiful thing about this is that no matter where I go here in the United States, I am with my home. And many people say, well, you're not very grounded. You're always moving around. You know how glorious it is to go to a speaking engagement, pull up in my RV, stay the night in my own hammock in my RV, take a shower in my shower in the morning, use my towels, not a hotel towel, not a towel from some guest place. And by the way, all my host homes, wonderful. But I was just ready to be grounded, and this was the way that I could be grounded. I pull out my clothes, not from a suitcase, but from my closet. I get dressed, and then I walk straight in, refreshed, into that speaking engagement. It is wonderful. Now, I've had people call, and they have said, should I get an RV? Guys, it is better than, I knew it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be good. But it is even better than I thought it was going to be. This works for me. And I see people say, well, where do you stay? Well, usually in the parking lot of wherever I'm going to speak the next day, or wherever we're showing the movie Amazon Arising, Joy in the Jungle. That's usually where I stay. But otherwise, I stay at parks. I stay at, hey, there's a Cracker Barrel. You can stay at Cracker Barrel for free. Walmarts have really cut down on that. I know you people used to stay at Walmarts all the time. I actually have never found a single Walmart that allows overnight parking. You can stay in truck stops. You can stay at Home Depot, a lot of Bass Pro Shops, Camping Worlds. Different places will allow you to stay for free as you're on the road. It works for me. It just works. And if you're like, oh, I got to come see it. If I'm in your state, I give tours for $5. No, I'm just kidding. No cost. You can come in, you can look around, you can see what it's like. And actually, a few weeks ago, I even let people drive it around the parking lot of the venue where I was at. We just had a best time. I want to tell you, take the risk. Now, don't be stupid. Don't go out there and do something ridiculously stupid. You have been given common sense for a reason. But every year, I do something that challenges me. I do something that almost scares me to death. I do something that takes me outside of my comfort zone. I usually do it the month of my birthday, which is in September. And I come up with something that is going to take me not just a little bit out of my comfort zone, but a bit out of my comfort zone. Buying this RV, driving this on a regular basis is that thing for me right now. Now, September's coming up, so you're going to have to help me come up with the next thing. But I heard a quote the other day that says, growth happens outside your comfort zone. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. Now, I disagree with the quote just a little bit because I believe that you can still grow somewhat in your comfort zone. Like, if I'm in my comfort zone, I'm reading a book, I can still grow. But here's how I've changed the quote to be, profound growth happens outside your comfort zone. Profound growth happens outside of your comfort zone. And you know, we get so scared about the majority of things that will never even happen. We limit ourselves day in and day out because we don't take risks. Again, I'm not talking about going and running out in the middle of traffic. Call Fola Driving School. Like, no, you need to do something, though, that is taking you outside of your comfort zone. And recently, we've been quarantined into little bitty tiny bubbles of comfort zones. But I want to challenge you. Come outside of your comfort zone. For me right now, it's doing this live video. And I want to do one every single afternoon of every weekday. So tomorrow afternoon, I'll be back. What hour? I don't know yet because it took me forever just to get this one up. But we'll just have to see. We'll just do it together. And that's the thing. Find a community of people who will support you in your risk. Not a group of people who will talk you out of it. No. Find a group of people who will take risks with you, who will support you in your risk, and who will encourage you to dream bigger. Guys, it's so worth it. I have found so much joy in taking risks. And people say, well, yeah, but don't you fail? Haven't you ever fallen before? Oh, yeah. But I don't call it failure. What I call it is finding a way not to do it. That's what I say. I say, wow, I just found a way not to do that thing. And sometimes I find lots of ways not to do things. But just keep going after it. It's worth it. Take the risk. Dream big. And have fun. And hey, thanks so much for tuning in today. Hey, let me go back to some of the quotes, to some of the comments here and see. Oh, I'm so glad you like the stories. Good. Because if you have a question or you missed the tour, you can always go back and watch the tour again. But yeah, I just want to see what you guys are thinking. Do you take risks? Do you go for it? Is anybody else out there just go for it? Because I want to know. I do. I want to hear your story. I want to hear how you've taken a risk. Maybe you haven't bought a 42-foot RV and driven it all over the country, but I want to hear. I want to hear what you've done too. So shoot me a message. Find a way to send me a video, whatever it might be. I'd love to hear from you. And hey guys, thanks for tuning in. I love you. I appreciate you so much. God bless.